Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to Intro to Web Design, part 2 of 3. Today we're gonna add the CSS file, which is gonna give you color, and you can change the fonts, and it's gonna make your website prettier. So you're gonna need today your GitHub open, your JS Fiddle open, and Slack, if you have Slack open, and the Hangout. So if you don't have Slack open on the computer where you have GitHub, you might want to have the Hangout open, because you can copy and paste the code from here into GitHub. So let me switch computers so we can start. If you have any questions, please use either Slack or the Zoom chat, and I'll make my best to answer. You were able to find to upload the index file. And so I hope everybody can find this on your GitHub. On the index file, we have the HTML code. And when we go up here to the right to settings, and then go down where it says pages, we're gonna find a web address. We click on that, or click here where it says visit site, and you're gonna see the website you created. So the HTML code has this heading. So these are the text I gave you. So the text is placed there, and remember, the HTML is the frame of the website. It's not gonna have color. You cannot change the fonts or the size. You're just gonna put the heading. So the headings will tell how important the title is. If it's what is a subtitle. So you put an order in your websites. You know what is the main theme, what is the subtitle, what is subtitles. Then we added a picture, and we added a video from YouTube, and then we have a placeholder here for a music file and also for an interactive. And then there's going to be an animation coming next week. But today we're going to change the color of the website with CSS. We also going to center them. So right now you can see all the text is on the left. So we're going to make it to the center. And we're also going to have some fun changing the colors of the text. So if you have your handout, the handout has a lot more information I'm gonna give you on this class, but it has all the information about what CSS is. You're gonna notice at the beginning of the handout, and if you are on Slack, don't worry about it. I'm gonna give you the code, but if you don't have Slack, you might want to find this code. This is the code you're gonna copy and paste into JS Fiddle. But before that, just talk about how to read CSS. So you're gonna see here, it's a little bit different than HTML. You have this called selectors. So in this selector, in HTML we used to call tags. This is selector. It tells them where to do the adjustment. So, and for example, on this, it's going to adjust any tag that has a P, which is paragraph. So all this formatting is going to apply to everything, all the tags that have P. So you just write a tag. So if it's P, you put P. If it's H1, heading 1, heading 2, and so on. Then you use curly bracket, and you open what they call a declaration block. Then you do a property. in this case is color. So this declaration block is going to change the color of all the paragraph. All the font in paragraph is going to be light blue. So the syntax is selector, which is what tag are you going to modify, curly braces, open, close. Then you're going to write the property, and there is a list of property. I'm going to give you the list. It's not something you make up. It's code that it's already set up on CSS. A column, that's the separator, and then you're going to put the color. So the color is also a code. Is coded. It could be, if you're familiar with RGB, you can put RGB, you can put hexa code, and we're going to show you what I'm talking about. Or sometimes you can just write light blue or yellow. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. And then you put semicolon. So this is just a summary of what I just said. You put the property. So this is another property called background color, which is going to make your website look. All the website behind the letters is going to change. And then red, you can write red here. So let's see what I mean. So if you open your JS Fiddle, already, I'm going to open the JS Fiddle and find the one that you did maybe last week, which was this one. And if you don't have it, I'm just going to put the link on Slack, and you can just reuse this JS Fiddle if you don't want to use it. And then I'm going to put it on Zoom, on the Zoom chat. So you can just click on there, or let me put it on the also here. If you refresh, your handout, it'll show up under here. So it's gonna, you just have to refresh your handout, and under intro, it's gonna show up this. So you can click this, and then you can make it yours. You can save it as yours. So that's another way to do it. So you don't have to retype everything. So so find what you did last week. There is a message on the chat. Let me see. Oh, that's my message. So find it and let me know when you find it, when you have your JS Fiddle with the HTML only. So it's going to have only the HTML. And I think that was the first one we did that was short. Don't get too complicated, just because we're not going to change the whole web page. It's just a sample. So once you have the JS Fiddle, you're gonna see, depends on what setting you have. So you go here to settings, right here on settings. Maybe my picture is over. So you go here on settings, make sure you are in apps column, so you have the same view I have. So you can see the three, all the windows open. So you're gonna go where it says CSS, and we're gonna take this code from the handout and copy, and I'm gonna put it on Slack too. If you're using Slack, you can use that one too. And let me try to see if on Zoom, sometimes Zoom that let you copy paste on the chat. So that's why I don't like to use that. So on CSS, try to have this code. Let me know when you have it. Good. So what do you notice it changed? Also, remember to click save. And when you click save, what did you see that change? Yeah, the background color change. The color change. So we add a color. Yeah. So right here, it says body. Remember, there is a tag here on HTML that is body. So this tag and this one are the same. So CSS is gonna modify the tag body. So that means that anything within the body, which is the whole page, is gonna be affected by this property called background color. And I put light blue. So that's why you have light blue, the whole web page is light blue. Then we have H1, and you guys remember what H1 was? So yeah, heading 1 and heading 2. So that means heading 1 is gonna be the main title, which is blue violet, and all the tags that were called H2, so you can see, are gonna be red. So remember, on HTML we have H2 here, H2 here. So we have habitat, H2, we have about brown bears, H2, and so on. So we just have to write H2 once, and it's going to change all the heading for H2. And then the same thing is going to be for H3. And right now I'm using the hexacode. So the hexacode is something you can have colors or CSS either in natural language, which is light blue, blue, violet, red. But like I said, not all colors exist in the natural language, but you can use hexacodes. So hexacodes, you just find a table and you find the color you want, and it's going to give you the code. You can also do RGB. So for example, if you go to the handout, you're going to see a lot of information, but we're going to go where the colors. So you can call colors like this, aqua, khaki, they are going to change. So aqua is light blue, khaki is beige. You can do RGB, which is red, value for red, value for green, and value for blue. Those three mix, and they're gonna give you something. So let's try this one. I'm gonna try this one. So change one of your color for this, for the RGB. So instead of maybe red, just write RGB. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. So for example, for H2, I'm gonna put my RGB, and you don't have to put semicolon at the end. Just put RGB, and then I'm gonna save it and see if it changes color. So RGB is gonna give me a brown one, but I don't like that brown. So anybody change it? Anybody try RGB? So change one of those and just put RGB parentheses and just put 3 numbers. And they go from 0 to 250. Each number goes from 0 to 250. Oh, you got black? Okay, you got black, change it. Change the red. If you want more red, increase the value, the first term. This term is gonna be red. So the higher you go, you can go from 0 to 50. So go a little higher and you're gonna see it's gonna change. It's gonna add more red. So you don't have black. So the way it works here is like, I can put, this is red. I can lower the blue to 0 and I'm gonna get more red. See, it gets more red. If I increase it to 200, there is gonna be more blue. So it's gonna be red and blue is like a violet. And then the green, if I increase the green, it's gonna get really ugly, I think. Yeah, so the green is, so it's better to lower here if you want more green, because it gets red, green and blue, you start getting more the bluish hues. So that's how you work. So then of course 0, 0, 0. Let's see what it's gonna give me. It's gonna be black, 250, and 250, and 250 is gonna be 1. So you pull those three, 250, which is the maximum, you're gonna get white. If you can pull those 3 zeros, you're gonna get absolute 0. So let's do something. I'm just gonna put here 100. So I get more bluish color. And then we have the hexa code, but you don't have to remember everything. So I have here on the handout some of the colors. So this one is white, this one is black. This one, I just put white. I don't know why I repeated it. And this is purple. So you see the difference. And then you have the hexa code. So these are black, white, aqua, but you don't have to remember this. You can click on this link. And I'm going to put this link on Slack. And then you can find colors, a chart of colors. So you can play around with this chart here, this color, and then you see it gives you the hexa code. It's gonna give you the RGB values, and then they're gonna give you some other values that we're not gonna use. This is for printing paper, and this is for something else. So, but we're mostly interested in hexa code and the RGB values. So you can either type here what color you want. It's like if you want to know what color you want, you can type it here. And then you know, oh, this is the color. Or you can choose a color, and then it's gonna give you the hexa code. So you can take this hexa code. So let's find something clear. Something like that, exactly. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put it here under, instead of light blue, just to be a little risque, and I'm gonna put the hashtag and I'm gonna change it. So that's the hexa code for that fluorescent yellow. And there is a lot of sites to find colors, and it's actually a lot of fun. And you can go to the handout, and it's gonna show you more places to find. And so there is a handout here, and so on. So that's basically the colors for CSS that you're gonna be using. Now let's go through the other ways to put properties. So the other thing is, let's go to the properties and then we go back. So we have color, we have font types. So you can put font types too. So the font family, you type font family and just put the tag, the selector that you are modifying. And then here you recognize it maybe from a from a word processor like Word. You can specify this. And there is a whole list of fonts. You don't have to remember that, but you put font family, column, the name of the font, and then semicolon. You can use the semicolon only if you are, you can use it there, but it's used if you are gonna add more properties. And then you can, here are some of the names of the fonts that are available. There is a list here of more fonts. Not all the fonts get loaded up in all the browsers. So there is here tells you which ones are gonna load up for sure in all the browsers. And here we can update this code if you want. So I'm gonna copy and just delete the code you have in your Fiddle. Just delete this, and we're gonna put the new code. And you're gonna find the handout. So you can just copy that and put it in your JS Fiddle. Just delete what you have before and run it, and you're gonna see how the fonts are changing. So for the body, we have a different, we have a font family. So if we type anything with the body, within the body without a tag, it's gonna be a default to this. Then H1 is the upper plate, Gothic, light, and we put fantasy in case there is no copper Gothic light in the browser. Then it's gonna align to the center. So this is supposed to align to the center. I don't know why it's not aligning to the center, but on the final version, it's gonna be aligned to the center. And then we put the color, and then color red, H3, and then the font family. So you're gonna see that. So any questions? And then you can put also modify the height and the width of the box. So you can make this box here. You can have like, make it smaller or bigger. So that's how, this is what it is. So for example, this box, you can change it. This is the layout, and you can put borders and so on. What I was going to show you is that at the bottom of the file, there is all the selectors. So the way you do this, you don't have to memorize everything that I just showed you. You just go to a syntax selector, and it's gonna have all the properties. See, it tells you how to write. This is HTML, and then it has the selectors. So all this is already in a handout, so you don't have to remember all of them. And there are several of these, so you can Google CSS selectors. So there is more information here. So you can look in the resources, CSS cheat sheet, that's the one. Yeah, this is a good one. So if you want the font family, here's the code. If you want font style, here's the code. If you want to change the letter spacing, here's the code. So you just look at one of these, the cheat sheet, and then you're set. You don't have to learn every single one. So now that you know how to read CSS, we're gonna add the file to GitHub. So find your GitHub, find where you put your index file. So let me know when you have your index file. And if you have any questions, CSS, let me know. But so far, now I'm gonna give you the file to create a CSS file. So in the meantime, while everybody's getting, one thing that you have to do in GitHub, but you don't have to do in JS Fiddle, because JS Fiddle is a simulator. It's not a real thing. It's just a testing site. It's to test your code, but it's not a function. It's not a functioning website. It's not a real thing. We're making the real thing. To make the real thing, anytime you're going to upload your file either to GitHub or to another hosting service, you have to use in the index file, you have to use this code. So this code says, I'm going to link the style sheet. The style sheet is what is called the CSS file. So remember that CSS is all about style. So you have to tell HTML to talk to that file. And the way they talk to each other is by using this very important code. So that code, it says, we're gonna give you the style sheet, and that style sheet is called styles.css. And everything has to be in the same folder at the same level, so they can find it. I have last week when you created your website, that link, that code was already in your index file. So if you open your index file, it should be there on line 6. See that? It says link rel equals sheets type text /css href style css. So our file that we're gonna create has to be called style css lowercase everything. Okay, so because we have to link it to this. So this is the code that links CSS to HTML, so HTML can pull it and then show you the pretty colors. So make sure you are here. So I don't see anybody on Zoom if you are here. So I hope you are. You're gonna go where it says add file, right here, add file, and click on create new file. You can upload the file too, and I have it on the handout last week, how to upload a file. So you can upload a file, it's just, and if your Slack crash, try to use for next time the web version. Don't try to download it to your computer, because it uses a lot of power in your computer. So just try to use the web. When it tells you download, don't let them download, just use the web version and it'll work better. So create new file. Okay, so you're gonna create a new file, and this file is gonna be called style CSS. So make sure it's style CSS because that's the code, that's the name of the file on that we told HTML that is gonna call. Everybody there? And for now, just save it, just commit it, and then we're gonna add the code. So make sure you have your, whatever you call your folder, style CSS, and just commit it. And then we're gonna edit it. So you're gonna have style.css. So let me know when you have that. So remember, you go to add file and create new file, and you just type at the top style CSS, .css lowercase. Okay, so once you are there, click. We're gonna go to the handout. If you are in the handout, I'm gonna put on Slack, but first I'm gonna show everybody how to do this. You're gonna go all the way down the handout where it says GitHub right here. So we're gonna click on this file. And this file is gonna have, you can download it, but let me see, it has everything. Size. So you can either, you can take this code on the handout and just try this. If it doesn't work, let me know. We can try something else. You're gonna right click and copy. And I'm gonna put it on Slack for all of you who are in Slack. And then right click, copy. Remember, it's gonna be, just scroll the way down to handout until you see GitHub and you copy. Then you go back to GitHub, click styles, the file styles. Go ahead and click here. And we're gonna edit it. So make sure you can edit it. Remember this pencil here. So click on the pencil and then make sure you start line 1, right click, paste, and then you commit. So you go to your handout, you can put this, I'm gonna put it on Zoom to see if it works. It might not work, but I'll try. There is also, I download this file and put it on Word. So if you download that file, you're gonna get the code in Word that you can also copy paste it and put it on GitHub. So just let me know how it goes. Okay, good. I got a confirmation. So once you paste it, you have your code is 15 lines of code. Go ahead and commit it. You can put the proper way is to put added style to web page, something like that. If not, you can just leave it blank and commit. And then you're gonna see your code there. So how's everybody else doing? So remember, you're gonna go find your file. You're gonna have index style. You click on the style, go to this pencil, paste the code that is on the handout. Remember, you scroll down until you see GitHub here. Paste it into GitHub and then commit. Any questions? And if you put it on commit, just hang on because it'll take a while for the website to update. Anyway, so how's everybody else doing? Good. Thank you very much for letting me know. So now you go to settings. Then you go to pages. And then you find your website link. So remember, settings, pages, find, and click on it. If the color is not showing, just refresh until it's all gone updated. So let's see if mine, so you go settings, pages, I'm gonna click on the URL and mine updated, but mine is always faster than everybody else. So if it hasn't updated, just refresh. So remember, settings, pages, click your web address, and it should show the color, or just keep refreshing until the color shows up. Yes, you can go back to the code. You can either go and click the back button and go here, code. So you see settings, code, or you can open another GitHub. So you can right click here also, like to avoid this problem that you can't see your code, you can right click and open in a new tab. So you can have your website here, and then you can have still your page here with the code that you can navigate back to the code. But if you do this, if you went here and you click here, you can use the back button to go back to GitHub. So let's see how so you're gonna notice that the title is centered. That was CSS. Okay, good. Yes, the more we add to this web page, the more it's gonna take to update. So, but you're gonna notice like there's some changes that weren't here before, like the title, the font change, the color change, but also is centered. That's what's done on CSS. Then I have a little indentation of the subtitle, species and features. So it's a little indentation, so it's aligned a little bit to the right. And then we have here also, I put, this is a link, and the link, which is done on HTML, but I change it a little bit with the CSS, and that's it. Nothing else changed except for the colors and the font. So let's see what we changed. So if you can go find your code, see what's changed. So I click my style. So I have the margins and underbody, and HTML is just something that it comes default. It doesn't matter. But what is important here is the body. The body, the margin is 0 and the padding is 0. So I don't have a frame around my website. You can change these numbers and see what happened if it changes for you. The canvas is something that's gonna come up later next week. We're gonna do an animation. So this canvas has to do with something we're gonna do next week. The important thing here is the body, the background. We change it. We put a font size so it got bigger. And as you can see, I use a semicolon here because I'm gonna do another property. Then the heading 1 is you see here text align is this red one. It's not the red one. It's the brown bear. This brown bear, the big one. It's in the center, and it's because I put a property text align, and the text align is left, right, center. So that's what I did. Then we have heading 2 is red. Then heading 3 is this species and feature is the gray. And I moved it margin left. I set up the margin to 20 pixels. So PX is 20 pixels. So pixels just little points. You can just see, measure more or less, see that that's 20 pixels. So this is indented. It's like almost like what you do in Word to put indentation with the tab. And then everything else with the P, which is this one, this link, these hyperlinks. I just put the style brush script, which is looks like it's a marker, and the font size. So that's what we have done so far. On the HTML side, you're gonna see right here is what we added. So it connects the CSS file to the HTML. And then we have the tags, and those tags are talking to the selectors on CSS. So that's how you do HTML. I suggest you to go to the code, to go to your HTML code, edit, and change, try to change it. So remember how I have here margin 0, change them, change it to 20 and see what happens. Change the colors, use the color palette I show you that is on the handout, and change all the colors. Try to change the fonts. There is a table of fonts also in the handout. There are a couple videos and tutorials that you can follow and have fun with it. This is the funnest part of web design, is that you can manage the colors and the fonts and move things, put it maybe in the center, and you know, and put your own touch on that. Next week, we're gonna add a JavaScript file, a very simple JavaScript file, which has an animation, and that's gonna be added underneath here. And I'm not gonna teach like specific JavaScript. It's just gonna be, I'm just gonna give you code snippet that do things like interaction. And I'm gonna give you an animation that is made on a version of JavaScript called P5JS. If you took a class with me this year or the year before, you might be familiar with P5JS. It's just a way to make animations with code.